a quick pace in the shower, a shortened shave, followed by a hard swallow of black coffee and a mixed fruit basket topped with yogurt at the barren kitchen table, Edmund Wolfgang lived through the same daily routine. Ed's years of service at Greyhound bus line spanned 3.5 decades, with the end in the foreseeable future. One more busload of passengers. One more trek across the city, perhaps beyond. And Ed's many travels across many states and cities, originating in New York City, Philadelphia, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, and at times Ohio, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. As he once remarked to his late friend Dominic, Cleveland, the last great city. They used to be home to the Browns. Ed, of course, a devout New York Giant fan, refused to recognize the newest incarnation of the Browns. His blue shirt and slacks were the standard uniform with the logo of the running dog on the pocket. Never late for work, his impeccable work ethic drew praise from his boss. And even though the strike shortened year in '91, Ed's return came at a higher pay scale and a new refurbished fleet of buses. Port Authority, New York's oldest bus terminal, seemed to creak along with Ed's own joints as he readied the bus for departure. He adjusted the seat, the mirrors, and his own obsessive-compulsive disorder for clean windows led to a constant spraying of Windex before, during, and after each trip. He always told Dominic, "It's a great world out there, but you can't see it through dirty windows." The dim hum of the engine soothed Ed. It was like rocking a baby to sleep. His own lineage, 2 sisters and 1 son, frequently teased him about the bus being his baby. Ed's fortunate run of luck. His supervisors let him use the same bus since the strike had ended. A comfort zone, Ed's bus line number 1023 ran through the city and through parts of Jersey and Pennsylvania. A pocket full of people, young and old, lined up for entry aboard the bus. Ed's casual greeting: "Welcome to bus 1023. I'm Ed, your bus driver for today, June 6th. Departure time is 6 a.m. sharp." The passengers displayed the tickets one by one, and they boarded, and soon thereafter took their respective seats. Humming his favorite Beatles song, "Here Comes the Sun," Ed counted 7 passengers with one final look in the mirror. The sunshine bounced off the hood of the bus, but refused to blind him, instead shining with glory through his crystal-clear windshield. His weary feet needed a rest from a lengthy journey. A known traveler, his body absorbed the many scars of battle, some earned, some inflicted by his various nemesis. His soul scarred from the historic battle with a prolific beast of the underworld. Yet redemption, always his priority, saving his family from this vicious beast. "Grandfather, you going to tap that cane the whole ride?" Louis Beaumont confronted him. Adolf simply grinned. "Yes, does it bother you?" "A bit," said Louis. "I won't lie to you. If I could crack that fucking cane in half, I would," he added, clutching his chest. "Oh, stop complaining, son," Terrence added from the rear of the bus. "Dad, he's not bothering you, is he?" "No, not at all. I've actually been looking forward to this ride for quite some time. I don't think we've all actually been together in quite some time." "Dad, always a nostalgic one." Terrence scooted up the seat. "Hey, driver, you mind if I take another seat?" Ed noticed the man's head littered with scars, scrapes, and a streak of dry blood attached to the bottom of the man's chin. "No, go ahead. There's no more passengers for this ride." "Boys, head on up." Terrence waved to the last 2 Beaumonts on the bus. Remus, come on. Don't be typical teenagers." "Jesus," Remus growled, weaving his way up the aisle. "Listen," added Remus, there's a lot of power in his family bloodline. The least we can do is obey our great-grandfather and grandfather." "And your father," Louis chimed in. "I picked out that nice girl in the park, and without her, you wouldn't be here." "Oh, the How I Met Your Mother story," Remus sighed. "Again, should be How I Raped Your Mother story against her will in the snow," Remus added with a hardened tone of dislike. "Get the story right." She eventually submitted. Unfortunately, she didn't survive the childbirth. Louis turned to Adolf. "Have you heard from your old lady yet?" "As a matter of fact, yes, I have," said Adolf. "I'm getting off soon to meet her." "How long has it been?" asked Louis. "Some time, I bet." "A long time, yes." "Did you have a good time at the cabin with your buddy?" Remus chimed in, knowing Adolf had a tough time up there. "I did in the beginning, but after your mother died and Louis was, well, incapacitated, I took the 2 of you up there." His wrinkled face showed signs of sympathy. "I actually thought I could turn the 2 of you into fine model citizens." "Yeah, well, you guessed wrong on that one." Remus, sharp and tongue, didn't sit well with the elders of the family. "Show respect, boy," Terrence cut in. "He's your great-grandfather. He's dead to me. All of you are dead to me." Remus returned to the rear of the bus in an aggravated state of mind. "I better see what's bothering him," Remus added. "You look better. You still sick?" Adolf asked. "I remember you having problems some time ago." "Yeah, it was some type of nasty blood infection, but I managed." Remus stood up and went back to check on his brother. "Thanks for asking, though." "And your health, Dad?" Terrence shifted the questions to Adolf. I've had my battles." "Heart attacks a few years ago," paused Terrence. "At least that's what I heard." "Something like that," said Adolf, turning to face Romulus. "I had some complications at the cabin." "Well, the important fact is we're all back together now," Terrence said. "I really missed out on your life, Louis. For that, I'm sorry." Yeah, it's all good now. Louis gave his father a sharp punch in the shoulder. How's Maxine? Has anyone heard from her lately? Ah, yes, Maxine. Adolf hummed a lovely tune. She was unable to get this ride. Something came up. Didn't she marry that sheriff? Asked Louis. Yeah, I believe so. He said, Grant's a good person. I personally don't like him, Louis said. Oh, just because the two of you didn't get along? He tapped the cane again. We had a difference of opinions, Louis said with a dark grin. Let's leave it at that. I say, that fight the two of you had at the lake, I didn't think either of you would survive that one. Adolf peered out the window. Almost my stop. If I remember correctly, we had our own fight, didn't we? Louis said with a crack of his neck. All of us have been embroiled in some sort of conflict, replied Adolf. You were a foolish teenager. Logic failed to register with that carnivorous hobby of yours. Well, I certainly had the time to reflect on those weaknesses. We all have time to reflect, Adolf responded with a wise look in his eyes. Listen, I forgive you, your father, and even the boys for all your misguided decisions. Really trying hard to forgive you, but I can't. Not right now, anyway, added Louis. The crisp rustling of a newspaper bristled the passenger next to Louis. Would you mind, please? Louis growled, displaying his teeth. I'd like to have some peace and quiet on this ride. Would you mind, please? The man scoffed back, lowering the paper, revealing a series of fresh burns all over his face and neck and hands. Did you have to be rude to the young man? The other man said, clearly annoyed with the man's attitude. Listen, Phantom, the man's dour tone prevailed. I go by Clark now. Phantom responded with a sharp wave of his hands. That Phantom persona is dead. Anyway, the man proceeded, we've had some good times back then, huh? No, we certainly did not, Preacher. I don't go by that name anymore. Preacher's dead to me, too. Our real name is Graham Orville Desmond. Ah, yes, I know, Phantom revealed his distaste for Preacher. God, for short. Clever genius on my parents' side, huh? Preacher snapped the paper back open, avoiding further contact with him. You've had a hand in killing my friends. Constitutes us as having a good time? For me, yeah, they didn't conform to my specifications of a civilized breed of human. There's other seats on the bus. Pick another one. Phantom attempted to push Preacher into the aisle. It's fate. We share this same ride. I'm going to see my lovely wife, Phantom answered, clearing his muggy throat. Where are you going? I'm in transition. I spent some time at a carnival. You know, hanging around. What happened to your face? You didn't have those scars and burns 15 years ago when we last met. Occupational hazard. Small oversight in my plan. Well, I have no idea what happened. No, not since we last met. I've encountered a harsh series of devastating blackouts. Once again, you continue to amuse me. Preacher shifted in the seat, reversing the paper's fold and reading the sports section. The Yankees, those nasty devils, won yet another one, didn't they? I'm thankful I get off before you do. Oh, we will cross paths again. I'm confident of that, said Preacher. Okay. Whatever happened to that sheriff who shot me all those years ago? Oh, now you know. Oh, now you care about the horrid past, so you desperately refuse to remember. What's with the forked tongue? I tend to clearly define my point, especially to those who crave the answer. Riddles, riddles, more riddles. What happened to Vickers? Phantom wanted to know. My partner in crime, the judge of the injustice. I want to crack my skull against that window right now, Phantom was thinking to himself, peering out the window. Several pecan trees faded to the right. Roads dwindled from 4 lanes to 3 to 2. Hey, driver! Phantom placed his fingers between his lips and whistled. To his startled amazement, the bus veered to the left, grinded to a halt. The faint clinking noise could be heard throughout the bus. All kept quiet. Ed unlatched his seatbelt and rose from the chair. The hazard lights continued to flash as Ed left the front of the bus and turned to face the passengers. No one said a word, not even the unruly twins in the back of the bus. They sat silent. Now, I've been watching you, each of you, for the last 71.25 miles, Ed said, walking down the center aisle, the gentle yet commanding authority. Some of you chatter about earlier times, reversing back to a fonder time in each of your respective lives. Ed's long fingers grasped at chairs and spread his knuckles apart. A series of short exercises returned energy back to his extremities. I've had some close calls in my career. One incident where a mother of a rig slammed into this very bus, and unfortunately resulted in some casualties. Why are you telling us this? Rhineless asked, growing impatient with Ed's storytelling. I'm approaching the end of my career, and quite honestly, I'm not sharp as I once was. I don't mind a conversation. In fact, I encourage it. And since this ride will be a long one, please respect the driver, keep the whistling and yelling, and even horseplay to a minimum. And when I say minimum, I mean 0 tolerance. Understood, Adolf said. And in short bursts of agreement, the Beaumont family complied, even the rigid twins impatiently agreeing to Ed's doctrine of behavior. And what about the two of you? Ed leaned over and pulled the paper away from Preacher. Yeah, we got it. Preacher's scorched face began to peel away, forcing a clear liquid to ooze from the